What's up, Fantasy Football Universe? It's SC Romero here to bring you another conference preview. Now, we talked about the SEC, we talked about the Big 12. Now, we're moving on to the ACC. My top 10 offensive players and top 5 defensive players coming up right after the intro. What's up, Fantasy Football Universe? Again, it's SC Romero, the Devy mastermind of the FFU, here to bring you my top 10 offensive players and top 5 defensive players of the ACC. So let's go ahead and get it under the race, starting with number 1 from the ACC on the offensive side of the ball. That is North Carolina running back Omarion Hampton. Now, he really showed he could be the workhorse back, the bell cow back, the full on, never off the field type of back, gained over 200 carries last season, really showed out and came out and said, hey, look, if North Carolina wants to move the ball, it starts with me, right? We saw Drake May have some struggles last year, and then Devontae Walker came back and Drake May started doing good again. We saw a lot of things be kind of inconsistent in the offense, but one thing was for sure, Omarion Hampton knew how to run the ball effectively. He is a bulk runner, has the speed, has the elusiveness to get through the tackles and get into the secondary and even beat some of those secondary defenders at times as well. He definitely is a great size back. I think he's going to do something in the NFL. This next year's running class is very deep, and Omarion Hampton is part of that group. Can he be a day two pick? If he replicates what he did this past season, then definitely he could be a day two pick. I really love Omarion Hampton, and honestly, he might be the only bright spot in this North Carolina offense this upcoming season. Talking about bright spots, let's talk about the guy that really showed out last year. And, can't talk about North Carolina State wide receiver Kevin Concepcion without bringing out my guy Andy Pham. First on him, first talking about his breakout year, and he struck gold. I mean, this guy Kevin Concepcion was everything you wanted, and he got a quarterback upgrade. Right, Grayson McCall is now there in NC State, so this is definitely huge news for him. There are some other receivers there as well at NC State, so that could be a little bit of my, less target opportunities, but at the same time, it means the eyes aren't just gonna be on them. They got Noah Rogers from Ohio State, so that's gonna be big as well. That's huge because I believe that's going to allow Kevin Concepcion to do more with less, which is just going to elevate that production even more because he knows, those targets aren't going to necessarily be there. So he's actually going to rise to the occasion and do more with every opportunity he gets and really have another breakout campaign, I believe. Just continuing to go on again, the QB upgrade, now more receivers on the field with him. It's just all signs are pointing for another great season for Kevin Concepcion. Again, Andy Pham on him last year. Huge wide receiver. And honestly, he's going pretty low too. For a freshman that broke out, again, don't scout the helmet, scout the player. And if you're scouting the players, Kevin Concepcion should be close to your boards. I mean, for the ACC, he's number 2 on my list. So, I mean, he should be very close to your boards and what he can do there. Number 3, we're talking another wide receiver, and that's Stanford's wide receiver, Elic Ayomanor. Just hearing his name a lot more. I think he has the skill sets to be something. He has the opportunity to be the lead wide receiver at Stanford. Okay, to be the guy that can, move the chains and actually elevate this offense to be a little bit something more than what it was last year. Has some good route running, has good speed, and an agile player that can make it happen in the open space. Has decent hit movement as well to make those catches. I would say his catch radius is phenomenal, as other wide receivers may be, but he definitely knows what to do and how to adjust when the ball's in the air to make that play. So I definitely think this is a highlight for Stanford to get a wide receiver like Elic Ayomanor. He could do something great. I think this is going to be a beneficial year from him and just a huge impactful year to help raise his draft stock even further than what it could be right now. Finally, off the wide receiver train, we're going to talk about some running backs, and that's going to be Damien Martinez, running back from Miami. Now, this kid came from Oregon State, following his former QB and DJ Ugalali and going to the ACC, right? Because Ugalali's at the Florida State now, but he went to Miami. So same state, different schools here, and This is going to be interesting because I was very high on Mark Fletcher Jr., and we'll talk about him a little later. But adding Damien Martinez is going to add a nice 1-2 punch with him. He's a bruiser type of runner, has good balance, and keeps his feet moving forward to gain those extra yards. He doesn't go down with ease, and that's something you always like in those running backs. Okay, pass catcher as well, but I think it's really going to shine to have someone like him that's just as explosive as what Fletcher can be, but yet a little bit smaller and just a tad bit faster and quicker than what Fletcher is going to be. So this is going to be a very nice Thunder Lightning kind of combo for Miami, I believe, when you have David Martinez and Mark Fletcher in the backfield. So I'm excited to see what Martinez is going to get with the bulk share. He still get the majority of the work, but having now a running back like Fletcher with him, how is that going to correlate with this offense? Big things to come for him. He's also another running back to keep an eye because he can definitely raise his draft stock coming from the Pac-12, Oregon State, to now the ACC in Miami. Another wide receiver there, and I'm gonna be the highest on this guy than probably anyone that you're gonna talk to when it comes to Devy rankings, and that's Virginia Tech wide receiver Ali Jennings. Um, Man, I love me some all Jennings. Get your popcorn ready. Ali popcorn Jennings, man. Get your popcorn ready. I been high on him for the past few years. I really think if he went to a bigger school, if he went to an LSU, Ohio State, an Oregon even, we'd obviously talk about him more. But he's a route technician, man. I think his route running's underrated. I think he's one of the better ones in the class when it comes to the route running, just on his precision on making the cuts and adjusting when he sees the defense doing different formations after the play and stuff like that. So it's going to be big for him to get back on the field. He was great last year in the one game he played, then he got hurt. So this is a second year at Virginia Tech. We didn't see it a lot last year. We saw some glimpses, and when he was on the field, it was like, oh snap, popcorn eating. This is it. This is the guy that can definitely move that offense to the next level to give Carl Jones a great offensive weapon. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do. He's back. He's healthy. He's ready to take the field. He's a wide receiver on the watch because, every year you get that wide receiver that sneaks into the second round, that third round, the day 2 pick. I think Ali Jennings, man, he can have a breakout campaign, put Virginia Tech on the map, and definitely rise that stock to, be a day 2, round 2 potential pick. Wide receiver Ali Jennings, Virginia Tech. Now, we separated them, but I'm going to talk about Mark Fletcher here, Miami running back. One of my favorite running backs last year as a freshman out of American Heritage. This guy runs a vertical, stands straight, but it's because he's big, he's bulky, he's going to power through you. He runs like a juggernaut, don't let him gain momentum, in other words. Similar to Derrick Henry. I'm not saying he's Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's a lot stronger. Fletcher has some strength to gain, if you will, because he's not in the pros, obviously. But he runs in that same style, man, where if he's gaining that momentum, he is dangerous down the field. And I really believe Mark Fletcher is a guy that has all the tools to be a legit running back. It's going to be interesting seeing him now with the Damien Martinez, because Martinez is a step up from the running back he shared the field with last year. So this is going to be interesting to see what this combination is going to be. Sometimes less is more, and I think less is more for Mark Fletcher. Don't give us many opportunities because he's big. You don't want to drain him down, wear and tear him, if you will. But I'm excited to see this offense. This Miami offense this year is going to be dangerous because of those 2 running backs and because of this guy right here. Not know if we'll exactly see the field right away. They have some good wide receivers in Miami, but wide receiver Josiah JoJo Trader, one of the top freshmen in the class, man. So I'm dropping my own series, right, where I'm telling y'all how I'm scouting film and how I'm going, just my insight when I'm looking at the film. Josiah Trader, man, has some of the best footwork in the class at the snap. As soon as the snap hits, man, his separation is instant. Like, he is getting away from his defenders right away. He is making the plays happen. He is doing big things. And this is huge because that's going to translate well to the NFL. His route running, I think, could do some polishing, but the instant the ball snaps, what he does in those first 2-3 seconds when the ball snaps is key and critical. But that's how he gets his separation, man, because he's so quick and understanding and juking out the defender and going the other way or whatever it may be. he knows how to get the step up, so then he could go through his routes and do them almost flawlessly. He does have some polishing up there to do, I think, but his footwork is so great, so quick. I think he's going to be a dangerous guy at the next level. If we're not talking about him next year, as I mentioned, Miami has some other wide receivers there as well. If we're not talking about him next year, look out for him in that 2025 season, because I think great things are to come from him, and I think he's going to be a quarterback's best friend in the years to come. Another running back though is California running back Jadyn Ott. He's that underrated type of back, but man, he could put Cal on his back. If California is down in some games, yeah, of course the go-to is air it out, get the ball down the field and pass it. They also may just pass, running with Jadyn Ott, man, because once this guy gets going and runs up the middle, he has that speed to break into the secondary. He has that second gear. He runs with a bulky move too. He knows how to get through defenders and evade some tackles as well. We're not talking about him a lot, but I think moving to the ACC, maybe the East Coast hears a little bit about him, a little bit more about him. So now we're going to see a lot more hype around Jadyn Ott and what he can do. This next year's running back class is deep. I'm going to say that multiple times. Jadyn Ott's part of that too, man. A day 3 pick, he could rise into a day 2 maybe, but that day 3 pick, he's going to be a target, because I think even at the next level, he has some opportunity awaiting him. Not necessarily the starting role, but definitely the third down back. The replacement role. Work his way on special teams and then make it known that he gets a season of greatness or whatever it may be. But I really do like Jadyn Ott, and I think people are definitely sleeping on him and what he can do. I mean, I'm sleeping on him really. With Mark Fletcher and Damien Martinez above him as well. Jadyn Ott could very well be the second best running back in the ACC this upcoming season, behind who I think Omarion Hampton will be. Now, I haven't talked about quarterbacks. We've talked about a few running backs, some wide receivers. We're going to talk about our first quarterback here at number 9, and that's going to be SMU quarterback Preston Stone, man. Underrated quarterback. Again, you scout the helmet, you don't scout, you're scouting the helmet, you don't are not scouting the player, and you need a scout Preston Stone, man. This kid, he delivers. He throws with precision. He has a great tight end in RJ Maryland. He knows what he needs to do. He knows how to extend the play if needed to get out the pocket. His pocket awareness is great. When the pocket is collapsing, he can get the ball out quickly as well. I really enjoy what I watch in him. And I think he could be one of the best quarterbacks in the ACC, with SMU. I think this is going to be great for him, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do this year moving forward, because this is a big year for him, right? He's probably going to enter the draft next season, so this is going to be huge for him and what he can do for SMU. My last guy, another quarterback here, though, and that's going to be quarterback Kyle Jones at Virginia Tech. Just has a lot of prowess, man. He is dual threat quarterback, can run with his feet, plays with some elegance, has a great arm strength, kind of that flick of the wrist arm strength, kind of. It has the speed to break through, right? So you love to see that, a guy that knows how to evade in the backfield, but also use his feet if he needs to gain those yards, but also has the arm that has the right touch on it, right? He has that touch where he knows if he needs to go deep, or he knows if he just needs to throw it a good 10 yards but get to his defenders really quickly. So you love to see that. Kyle Jones is definitely going to be a quarterback to watch in your CFF leagues. He might be one of the top quarterbacks in the nation when it comes to the points in fantasy scoring. And as far as Devy, though, I do like him here. And honestly, I mean, we're going to talk about some honorable mentions here. I do like him more than Miami's new quarterback, Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward is great. You talk about his arm, that's the big go-to for him. But I think Kyle Jones is more of an all-around weapon that can be utilized than what Cam Ward is. But honorable mention, Cam Ward, Miami quarterback, SMU tight end, RJ Maryland, love him. He's one of my top tight ends of the class. Syracuse running back, LaQuint Allen, Clemson quarterback, Kate Klubnik. Man, Klubnik needs to bounce back, but he definitely has what it takes to be a top QB as well. Boston College quarterback, Thomas Castellanos, Florida State quarterback, DJ Ugalele, Georgia Tech running back, Jamal Haynes. Man, I love Jamal Haynes too, just a dual threat type of running back that has versatility to stick and make Georgia Tech a valuable or effective team. Duke quarterback Malik Murphy. Malik Murphy showed some good things at Texas, and this is his time. It's his team in Duke. Go out there and make some money with Duke, man. Clemson wide receiver Adam Randall, and then Wake Forest wide receiver Jeremiah Melvin, a freshman wide receiver coming in. Those are some honorable mentions for me when it comes to the offensive side of the ball. But let's talk IDP. Let's talk some defense. And this first guy is a linebacker. I love my linebackers out of Clemson, and that's Barrett Carter, man. Can't talk about the ACC defense if you're not talking about Barrett Carter. Some even had him over Jeremiah Trotter Jr. last year when it came to their linebackers. It depends who you ask. Some like Jeremiah Trotter Jr. more, some like Barrett Carter more. But last season was down here, compared to 2022. Jeremiah Trotter came out, had a good year as well. Still had 3.5 sacks and 27 run stops. So he's someone that at times he's overly aggressive, but he gets the job done. I say that because he does have like a 20% missed tackle rate, which isn't good. But at the same time, he gets there. He just overshoots a lot. And that's a big issue. Definitely sometimes for some players, you need to slow it down a little bit more. And I think Barrett Carter, not Jeremiah Trotter, Barrett Carter definitely needs to slow it down a little bit more just to be more reliable, I guess. You don't want to have those missed tackles in the big games. So, know when to take that step back to then go and attack. Don't just go full throttle all the time. It's great to have that motor, but even the motor sometimes needs to adjust, right? So just be aware about that when it comes to him. But all around, great linebacker. He's probably going to be one of the top linebackers off the board this year in the NFL draft. The next guy, I've talked about him already. If you're following the Devy dashes, you've seen it. Miami edge rusher Reuben Bain. Man, immediate impact as a freshman. Over 600 snaps, 45 total pressures, 7.5 of those being sacks, 27 run stops. He was the highest grade pass rusher on PFF for the Miami defense. Big things to come for him, man. Again, made that immediate impact. This kid explodes as soon as the ball snaps into that, behind the line of scrimmage. He knows how to get after the quarterback. He knows how to track the ball well. He has great pursuit, just an all-around beast, man. And he's gonna get better, man. He's gonna age like fine wine, right? He's gonna get better with time. And this freshman year was a mere glimpse of what he's going to do. Now we're about to watch the takeover for Reuben Bain. I truly believe when the time comes, he's going to be one of the top edge rushers on the board, without a doubt. But with that being said, there's also this guy, Florida State edge rusher, Patrick Payton, another guy that just consistently has gone better with, FSU each year. This year could be his best yet. Last season, he doubled in terms of added pressure what he had from the season before in 44 total pressures, 7 sacks as well, so similar to Reuben Bain, but he attacks with velocity, and they're gonna need that aggressiveness off the edge with Jared Verse down the NFL. Now you have Brandon Fiske as well. They're gonna need someone to bring that line back together and form that strength in that line. And I think Patrick Payton can be that guy. Just again, explosive off the edge, has quick feet, has the hair maneuvers to get around and swim around the guys. He's gonna be a threat, man, in the ACC. And I love Reuben Bain, as I just said, but Patrick Payton, man, he's gonna be someone you want on the Raiders because I think he's definitely gonna rise his draft stock this season. Knowing, look, I don't have Jared Verse here anymore. This is my team, my line that I need to take control of. So I'm excited to see that. Now, those are some younger guys, right? But now we're gonna talk about one of the older guys here in Jasheen Davis out of Wake Forest, returning for his final year of eligibility. Looks to continue his hot streak over the past 2 seasons, back-to-back seasons with 7 sacks and over 20 run stops. So just an all-around big guy. He is the heart and soul of this defense to me. I think when he's getting going, the defense is getting going because they know the pressure is on, right? Because if he's adding the pressure, then that means they also need to add that pressure as well. So I really love what I see in him. Has phenomenal size too. Just has the lead to stretch out and get to the offensive running ball carriers, has the athleticism to get around the blockers, has the momentum and the motor to get towards the quarterbacks or to get that tackle for loss in the backfield. Jasheen Davis, I really love him. And, he comes out this year, final year of eligibility. So I hope it's a great year for him. And I'm excited to see what's next for this young man out of Wake Forest. Now, going back to Barrett Carter's team in Clemson, can't really talk about, top guys if I'm not going to talk about Tamarian Parker. TJ Parker, sophomore that just made an impact as a freshman. 5.5 sacks, 29 run stops, plays with great ball pursuit. He has know how to get around the blockers as well. A big guy up the middle, and it doesn't miss, right? He gets after it, and he doesn't miss his tackles. He knows where he has. He has a small percent, just about 10% missed tackle rate, but still, he definitely gets after it, and he's a reason why the front seven is effective. With the way TJ Parker plays, Marion Parker is a reason why Barrett Carter looks great at times because Parker is gaining that pressure on the quarterback, and it causes the quarterback to gain some stress or to make the wrong play. And guess who's there to pick it up? Barrett Carter. But you look at the tape and you go back, and it's like, wow, TJ Parker had a hand in that because he was all up in the quarterback's face. And that's what you love about, guys like him is he may not have the stat sheets to fill it up. He does have some good stats, but he may not have the stat sheets to fill it up. But you go back and watch the tape, and you realize the reason why Clemson has any kind of success is because he's making plays that aren't recorded. You know what I mean? So that's big for him. I'm excited to see what he can do. Him and Barrett Carter form an excellent tandem. Clemson has some other good defensive players on that team as well, but those two guys are going to be big when it comes to Clemson just finding success this season and potentially getting into the 12-team playoff. But as always, we're gonna do some honorable mentions as well when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. SMU, Isaiah Nwokobia, safety, just a good guy as well. Excellent, hands on the ball when it's in the air, to make the defenders get a good pass deflection in. Also, great ball pursuit, has some speed and versatility to him as well. Louisville defensive lineman Aston Gillette, going back again, this is gonna be a guy that don't scout the helmet. He could very well be one of the top defensive linemen, if not the top defensive lineman in the ACC. But if you miss him because of the helmet, that's going to cost you. That's Aston Gillette, defensive lineman out of Louisville. And then linebacker out of Duke, Trey Freeman, man. This could be a good year for Duke, having Malik Murphy. Trey Freeman, a good linebacker, has leadership of the backfield or of the front seven there, knows how to control the defense. He can definitely escalate in something greater as well. So maybe, having new blood on the offensive side of the ball when it comes to Malik Murphy, this will just elevate what Freeman can do further and help lead the Blue Devil defense to something. I'm not gonna say ACC championship. I just don't see it. The Malik Murphy, man. If Malik Murphy goes out there and balls, then maybe. But I'm not gonna say ACC championship. But at least have a good season for Duke, something we haven't seen in a long time. So this could be very good for them as well. That about wraps up my ACC previews. I appreciate everyone that joined in. Until next time. I am SC Romero. Find me on X at the PPR, so where we're talking all Devy stuff, fantasy football content. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Fantasy Football Universe YouTube channel and follow the Fantasy Football Universe on X at the FF Universe. We would love to chat it up with you. Until next time, I'm SC Romero. Peace.